The GNIS database is a resource maintained by the USGS service and is a relatively underutilized resource for GIS. What we'll be doing in this 15-minute tutorial is demonstrating how to locate GNIS data, how to download the data, and how to manipulate the data to get it into a form that can be brought into your ArcGIS project. To begin, go to our Momentum site and scroll down to, I believe it's week 12, and you'll see a USGS GNIS data section. And you want to follow the link to the GNIS main homepage, and then click Show All Content if it asks you. And here you'll see their main homepage for the GNIS data set. And this may change if you're viewing this video some months from now. They change their site periodically, and this is being re-recorded here in November of 2012. But from their homepage you can read about the data set and information and such. And what we're going to do is go to Download, and this takes you to their download page, and they have a variety of different formats of their data, and we're interested for now in this top section here with the states and the territories. And you can click on File Format, and this is something you might want to print out or download. It gives you a description of the data set in terms of basically like a code book. So you've got the feature names, the types, lengths, and descriptions of each variable in the database. And one of the important things to notice for our purposes is we've got latitude and longitude in this database, and they have it both in decimal degrees and in degrees and minutes and seconds. And so we're going to be primarily using the decimal degrees to help join this data over to create a new shapefile later on. So this is very handy in that it does have the decimal degree format. So that comes in real handy later on. And to begin, what we want to do is you can download the entire country if you want, but it's a really large file. So we're going to look at Tennessee's data. Before we begin the download, notice that, and you've probably seen this in a lot of other links from our Momentum site, at the top of the screen, if you look at the link here, Momentum does something. Whenever you go to a site from within Momentum, it sort of keeps you within the Momentum domain. Not sure how this works exactly, but it causes a problem sometimes. And when we try to download our data, I'm going to show you what happens. If you go to the select state for download and you pick Tennessee, you're likely to get an error, page not found error. And I believe this is something to do with Momentum keeping you within its domain, and the USGS has probably got some kind of a security set up to where it prevents that from happening. So let's go back again to the main page. We'll go to download, and before you select the state to download, a way you can get around this is just go ahead and on the download here, let's just right click on that, and when you right click, we'll say open in a new tab. And what that would do basically is open up another tab, and this is working in Internet Explorer, and I'm not sure how this works in the other browsers, but it seems to work fine in Internet Explorer. And basically the issue is you want to go directly to the site. You don't want to have this elearn.rhonstate.edu in your link here. So if we click on the tab that we open up and compare it, you can see that this is the actual path that you want to get to. So I'm going to pause a minute here if you want to jot down this address just in case you have any problems going there the way I went just now. And again, what's going on here, it's the same site, but if I look at it the way I went to it the first time, you can see that the path is keeping some of the momentum information in the path to the site, and I believe this is causing a conflict. So if you run into this with any of your other work in the other classes or anything, you might might try this. And again, you can simply right click on the link you're wanting to go to and just say open in a new tab. And what that will do, and you can see the difference up here at the top, it's got their little USGS icon instead of the momentum icon. So that basically opened the same window, but it's opening it in the path that's directly on the USGS site. So I'm going to close that other one I had open. And now if we try to go to the data from here, it should work fine. And you can see down at the bottom it's prompting me to save the file. And so I can save that and just click Save As. And then you can route it over to the folder you want to store it in. In my case, I've created a GNIS subfolder inside my GIS 101, and you can go ahead and save it there. Now, I've already saved it once on my end, so I won't save it again, but that's where you'd want to put it. And so you see we end up with a file that's compressed and just under 3 megabytes in size. And we can unzip this file using the Extract to Here option. And that should give us a file that, as of November 2012 at least, is around just a little over 10 megabytes in size. So now let's go ahead and start up Microsoft Excel. Notice when I go to open my file, I need to change the type here from the All Excel files to the text files setting. Then it will see that file type. Now you notice you'll get the text import wizard here, and our file is delimited. It's delimited not with tabs, but with what we call the pipe symbol, which is above the enter key on your keypad. You have to hold the shift down and hit it. It's got two little lines going straight up. But you notice when you enter that in, it lines all your columns up very neatly. All your data has breaks between the data where it should be, because it's picking up on that pipe symbol that they used to delimit the file with at the USGS. And so we can now import that right into our program. And let's make our column, let's expand our column widths to the width of the header name. And what you'll notice, I selected everything, and then I hold the shift key down and double click on the edge of one of the columns to get all of them to expand at once for you. And you can scroll across through there and see the different columns that's in this data file. And again, these should match up with what we saw in our metadata file earlier. And of particular importance, you'll notice several latitude and longitude columns. The one that we're really interested in is called the primary latitude decimal and primary longitude decimal. And you'll notice it has the negatives in the longitude in front of the numbers. You'll notice in the other columns there might be a W for west at the end and so forth. So this is the one that we want. There's other useful information here as well, and as I update this in 2012, we now have, for example, elevation in both meters and feet, whereas it used to be only available in feet. So now we have a little extra information here, and we also have the quad name, where this each record came from. It identifies the quad map each record came from, and the date it was created, and the last date it was updated. So now that we've explored the data, one of the things that we want to do now is first we want to save the information that we've been working with, and I'm just going to move back over to the beginning of the home location first, and then just go to File and Save As, and let's just we're going to save it as an Excel worksheet, and I'm using again 2010 with this update. Some of those images you saw on the previous screens were done with version 2003, so you've got a little different format here. We've got XLSX for 2010 instead of just XLS, and so I'm going to save it still in the GNIS folder, and in this case, I'm going to leave the first part of the file name the same as it was. In other words, the 10 features, and then it's got their code number, just for reference, so that I'll know at a glance when I look at it in my Windows Explorer, I'll know that that's the same Excel file, the equivalent of that text file in terms of the information that it has within it. So we'll just save that. And another thing you can do, now this is saving all of the features, and as of this latest update with the GNIS data set, if I scroll down, you can see it's over 78,000 records. So it's a lot of data in there, and I can pull all of that data in later on into ArcGIS. But I might, for example, just be interested in the churches, let's say. And if you look over here in the feature class, again, it's sorted by different types of information in the GNIS data set. So one of the ways I could get just churches as an example is I could sort this by church. And since we have it in Excel, we can use this program to do a lot of sorting and cleaning for us so that we don't have to pull in so much information and work with it in ArcMap all at once. And basically, these are all point features that are representing information on the topo map. So these are the types that are on the topo map. So let's say, for example, we were interested in churches in Tennessee. Well, one thing we could do is we could sort our data set by this feature class field, and then we could basically either cut out the stuff that's not church or copy the church material and paste it over into another worksheet if we wanted to. So when you sort, there's a little trick you need to remember about Excel. If I select the column here and I go over here to sort, and I say just sort from A to Z, it warns me here, a little sort warning it calls, and if I'm not careful, what it's telling me is I can sort just this column and it won't sort the other columns. So it would basically corrupt my data because it wouldn't be associated with the proper records anymore. So what it's asking me what I want to do, and by default it's selecting expand selection, which is what I want to do, because if I just say continue with the current selection, again it will only sort this column, which would basically throw that data all out of sync with the rest of the data. So let's leave the expand selection option turned on there and then click sort, and you notice it selects the entire worksheet. Then for a moment it sorts it, and then it shows me back to my column where I were, and you can see that it did correctly because it sorted these other fields. So I've got information on airports. It's lining up with the airport type as an example. So what I could do then, now that I've sorted this information, okay, and I want to be careful here to remember that the first record here is your labels, so you don't want to mess with those. But let's just say, for example, I wanted to get just the churches out of this data set, and since I've saved it originally a little while ago, I can always reopen it and select other data if I want to. So what I'll do, start with the second row here so I don't delete my field names, and I've selected the first airport, and I'll scroll down till I see church come up in the first record here. Here we go, and I'm going to scroll back up. There's a lot of churches in Tennessee, so okay, went a little too high, and I'm going to hold my shift key down now, the shift key, and select this record number that is the last record before church. Okay, and then what I can do, I can right click while I'm out here on one of the record numbers and then click delete, and that deleted all of those selected records I had down to the first church record. Okay, and what I can do now is go to the last church record, and again there's going to be quite a few here. Oops. And go to the last one, select it, and then scroll to the bottom of the list. Oops. It's a little sensitive because there's so many records here. You have to kind of click up and down until you get it, and then hold my shift key down again, select down to the last record, and then again right click and delete. And now what we've done is we've got a GNIS data set now that just has the churches in Tennessee, and you can see it's showing 10,300 and something. So I could save this file now and save it, go to save as, so I don't want to overwrite my other one, and make sure I'm saving it in Excel format, and this time let's just call it Tennessee churches. And I can save that file. And now I have a data set of just churches in Tennessee. Now I could open the original file back up, I could close this file, open my original Tennessee features file again, and since I saved it in Excel format, it should open directly into Excel. I don't have to go through the telling it how it's delimited again. It takes a little while because there's a lot of records again. Remember, there's 78,000 records. So I've got my original data set again, and I might want counties this time. I might be interested in all of the GNIS data in Cumberland County, for example. So I could click on county name, and I could do the same thing as I did before. I could go to sort it from A to Z, allow it to expand the selection, which it does temporarily, and then it sorts it, and then it selects it back on the column again. And then I could go through just like I did with churches and scroll down till I get to the first Cumberland record. Select everything up to that first record, right click and delete, and then I could go down to the last record for Cumberland County. Select the first record and then scroll to the end of the database. Hold my shift key down, select the last record, right click and delete. And I can see I've got 1,227 records for Cumberland County. So with this I could go ahead and say File, Save As, and this time I can call it Tennessee Cumberland. And now I have a GNIS data set of all the GNIS points in Cumberland County. So you can sort and by any of the fields that you're interested in. You can pull out any of the feature classes that way, any of the counties. It's a handy way of sorting before you ever get it into ArcMap, which makes it a lot easier to work with. So I encourage you to do that. And with that, we'll stop part 1. And we'll pick up with part 2 of this and begin processing this in ArcMap.